Welcome to Kingdom Metalworks. So today's project is doing the catwalk panel, the reverse curve. So we're moving along in our stages. As you can see, it's getting fairly deep in here. We're getting some crown over shape. We're getting some flow and go on our stretch over. We're actually getting some contour and shape through our panel. So as I said on the last videos, I try and our sweep and our little profile needs to be moved over to here, which means I need to get some more shape in here to drop this over, to bring it to contour, to be able to get this to conform right in that position. So, having said that, number 2, we're going to look and see where we are with our profile on number 2. We're getting relatively close. I still need to bring it over. I still need to throw this over and bring shape into this area. As you can see, I've marked the panel where my sweeps go, number 1 and number 2. Now I'm going to switch over to the length with the sweep for this one, which as I've been shaping, I've been keeping an eye on where the panel's going. And as you can see, we're relatively close with our shaping coming in. Still needs a little bit more shape in here, but as we come up to the top, you can see that we don't have enough crown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where my crown needs to be, so that now I can transition into my higher crown wheel, and then I'm going to give it another designation over in here. So now I have long and short strike marks on my panel. So let's change up the wheel. We had the number 5 in the lower angle, and now we're going to transition to our number 325. And as you can see, the 325 has a very, very small flat point, but still a flat top wheel. Has a lot of drop away so that it won't score up the panel. So we'll pop that in there. We'll give it a little wipe down. Always like to keep my anvils lubed up so they don't get rusty. They're all polished, all hardened. So I like to keep them in good shape. So now, as I said, we're going to start crowning up the shape in this area here to bring this over and up. I need less shape in here than I do in here, as you can see. There's not a whole bunch to put in it, so I've got to keep an eye on that. If I overdo it, it's very difficult to take it out. As I come up to the top of the panel, you can see that, wow, we need quite considerably more. I'm not too concerned about that, because the closer it gets to the edge, the quicker the shaping will come in, because it draws shape from the open edge. Whereas in here, it's a trapped edge because of the reverse curve. So therefore, it's not going to go in as quick, but it's still going to move fairly quickly overall because it's aluminum. So the aluminium is 063. It's a nice thickness. Let me just get my glasses for this. I'm going to come in with some pressure. And of course, because it's a higher crown wheel and it's a lot narrower blow, I don't need as much pressure as I had with the number 5 stretching and going through here. Because it was such a wide blow, I could get a little bit more pressure, move the metal a little quicker. I'm going to run just inboard of this edge, and I'm going to utilize this waffly area to stretch out. The more I stretch out this panel up here, the more this will stand upright and still be curved. So this is the area I need to shape. Here we go. Long and shorts coming through. And I'm not using any English, I'm just letting the panel do its thing. So as I say, I've got my 2 marks that I'm wheeling to. Making sure that I don't go too deep into the catwalk, reverse curve. At the same time, I want to put shape in. I'm going to tuck a little bit of shape up in that front nose because I know that's going to need more. Now I'm going to do my long and shorts. Like I said, I don't want too much shape down in here. Slow procedure, going in. So the whole reason for doing the urethane band on the other wheel was so that I could get a true reading of how much shape I really needed to put in on this top section with the right radius going this direction. As I put it through the urethane wheel on the last video, it flattened it out a lot. Now coming back into linear stretching, we're stretching between here and here, and from here to here, and I'm flowing and going, and you can see there's a couple of stripe marks all staggered so that it keeps it in a relatively smooth mode so that we don't have too many ripples. We don't want hard stops going through this panel. So as I start with my gauge, you can see how far away I was. You can see how just a little bit of shape goes a long way. Like I said, I'm using this fluffy edge to be able to get the stretch in here that I need. This trapped edge, it's going to stretch up, and as you can see, I'm getting closer. So paying attention to that. So right in the center here is where I need a little bit more crown through there. We're doing really well on the front. The flow and go on the back seems to be very reasonable. So I'm going to crown up a little bit further on the side and then put some more crown in through the top. At the same time, I'm utilising my profiles. So using a sweep, which is longer, then using the profile gauge to get a reading of where I need to be. You can see that it needs to be brought back over. That's when I'll go back to the urethane wheel. The whole idea is that we get it to a number 4 radius, and you can see when I'm wheeling and putting shape in, it takes that out. So I've got to put enough shape in this direction, so that when I put it through the urethane wheel, which just linear forms it, I then get enough crown, but I have enough drop over in the panel. So like I say, it's a procedure. We're going to dial up our pressure just a hair more, not too much. And I'm going to put a little bit more in the nose of the panel. There's that section that we were talking about with the sweep, so now I'm coming through the whole thing. Notice I'm going fairly close to the edge, but not going off the edge. I don't want to go off the edge because if I go off the edge, it then stretches the edge, takes all the shape out of the panel that I just put in it. So we'd be going backwards. But I get close to the edge and then draw that shape to the center of the panel again on the high crown area. And as you can see, the motion that I'm using backwards and forwards, I'm being very careful on my stops and starts and change of direction. So it's more of a flow and go, not a stabbing motion, but coming to a point so that you can see there's no stop lines. Very, very minute if they are there. If you're stabbing at it, going too quickly, too much pressure, you're going to get these stop starts everywhere, and then that's something you're going to have to address a little later, and it's going to be a lot more work to blend and smooth that up. So anyways, we're starting to feel the shape coming in. It's a high crown wheel, and we're starting to get the flow and go, and you can see where the valley is starting to go. So we're getting close now to saying, okay, I probably need to start trimming in, start thinking about doing a relief cutting, just a tatty, just so that I can anneal down in through here to throw this over. As you can see on this panel here, that's how I did that. So we've got the reverse curve, the flow and go. We've got our shape coming in through the top. The student did a great job. First time he'd ever done one. And then he flicked in that front flange. But also you can see where we did a little relief, and then we annealed this section in here, so that we could stretch that over a lot more and get the actual flick through to come in deeper on the headlamp area rather than on the rear section. So I'm paying attention to what my panel needs to look like, and you can see, like I said, I'm not making the exact panel. The one I'm making is slightly larger. It's slightly more aggressive. You can see that I've got slightly more shape in mine already. So the difference is I'm working to my sweeps, to my profiles, and as it comes in, we're starting to get closer and closer. And you can see that the end of the sweep is right on the edge of the panel, which designates the direction of where I need to put that sweep, because obviously if I put it back here, it doesn't fit. So you've got to go back to the same position every time, and that is my location mark of where this sweep should go. And as I come over, you can see I'm still needing a little bit more shape up in this area, right between the two down in here, and it's pretty much all the way through the panel. So I'm going to continue wheeling, continue shaping. Like I said, the English wheel, it's very methodical. It's something that takes a little bit longer time to do than if you're using a power hammer or flanishing hammer. But it's my favourite machine. I love the English wheel and just how relaxing it really is. I haven't got a whole ton of pressure on there because the whole idea is to shape the panel up with as little thinning as possible. But being 06-3, we have a little leeway. If I was making this panel out of 40 thou, a lot thinner, I'd make it in a slightly different procedure. I'd probably be dressing it in the bag just a tatty more. I might just take this one to the bag a tatty more later. We'll see how it comes. I'm not exactly sure. We're reading the panel, putting the shape in. A little bit more on the nose, coming into that midsection where I need that a little bit higher crown. And so the whole format is as I put more shape in here, it's throwing this panel up and in, but it's also dropping that edge over. It was kind of level. Now you can see that edge is dropping over slightly. So it's all a controlled thing. As we go in with our sweeps, we're making sure, are we in the right target zone? So you can see the closer it gets, so you can get an understanding of what I'm doing. If I go the reverse manner, you can see that I've still got a lot more shape to put in there, So I'll probably just up my pressure. Anyways, if you've enjoyed the information on this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you.